I want you all to think about something. You probably at some point are thinking, I wish I had more time. I wish I was more present, which is failed logic because there is never enough time and you can only be so present. And what, you're gonna have a tape recorder on those moments that are common. It's just not how it works. You haven't done anything wrong. Life doesn't slow down, but real sobriety has given me the framework to be present in those moments and to feel like I can make the ordinary days become memories. And kids don't need perfect parents. They need present parents. Welcome to the Sober Friends podcast. My name is Matt J. Over there is Steve. And if you've wondered whether you can really get better without alcohol, you're in the right place. Whether you're new to recovery, have some time sober, or you're supporting someone you love, glad you're here. This is a podcast about sobriety, emotional growth, and learning how to navigate life without having to drink over it. Steve, we're taping this on Father's Day. It's not going to be released on Father's Day, but happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you, Matt. You too, and all the fathers out there who may listen to us. First of all, thank you for joining us and listening to us. And secondly, happy Father's Day. I hope you're finding some sobriety and some serenity if you're in recovery, and if you're new in recovery, I will tell you that you can find some peace and serenity so that on days like today that you can really enjoy them and appreciate it was. I told, we were talking before and I said, we have a weird thing on Father's Day, right? My birthday is June 19th and my son's birthday is June 21st, which always falls around Father's Day. So Friday was my birthday. Today is my son's birthday plus Father's Day is there. So we did all our celebration yesterday. So today is just a nice quiet day. I'm just my wife and I and the dog, and you can really have a nice, peaceful, serenity life. If you even if you struggle with alcohol, it takes some work, but I'm really looking forward to a day. And for me, I'm a golf fan. U.S. Open's on last round of the U.S. Open. My wife and I will just hang out on the couch this afternoon and eat some leftovers and watch the golf and have a beautiful day.
That's awesome. It never occurred, I shouldn't say it never occurred to me. When I was planning this out, I wasn't thinking through that the people who stumble upon this podcast are probably in early recovery.
Right.
Or the new listeners are probably in early recovery or thinking about not drinking, and the established people have some sobriety. And I didn't think through that this could be a hard day if you're a dad. Maybe this is your first sober Father's Day and there's still some amends. So I kind of want to give you some hope there. And then I also want to give you the thoughts around what it's like when you've been sober some time. So I want to give some background of why I am thinking about this and why I have a lot of emotions wrapped up. It's Father's Day week. Last week on the 16th, my son graduated high school. They do it at Dunkin' Donuts Park in Hartford, probably, if not the best, the second best minor league baseball stadium in all of the minor leagues. And all those kids coming in and all the work he's done and how well he has done as a student. They give you like these tassels for different achievements. And the kid looked like Hercules with the tassels all around his neck. My middle daughter graduated middle school. She also was cited for academics. She won the President's Award for mathematics, which is especially humbling knowing she's got dyslexia. She needs a lot of help. And all of that help cleared the way for her to be her best. And this happened so quickly. I still look at them as little kids. And my son now is 18 and he can legally sign stuff. I'm needling him to, dude, you gotta go online and sign up for selective service. But I can't go and do it for him.
Right.
Because he's an adult now. And my daughter's going into high school and I saw how fast that is and she's going to be out. My son's going to be in college in the middle of August and he's going to be gone.
That's it.
And I don't know where the time when, and I think what struck me wasn't necessarily regret, it was realizing I thought I had more time and I don't. Now, you've gone through this a lot earlier than I did because your kids are older.
Yeah.
What was this like for you?
It was a blur, first of all. When you're in it, it's tough, right? It's tough when you're in it. My wife and I have that conversation. My wife has 2 kids from a previous marriage, and they're older. So I remember when they started having kids, she would be disappointed. Like, her kids weren't calling her enough and talking to her. And I would tell her, like, honey, your kids are in that crazy part of life. Like, don't you remember it? And I remembered it because I was more recently removed from it. Where my wife, her kids are. My son turned 36. Her oldest, and her oldest just turned 50. Right, big difference. But I just remember, and we were talking again. I remember that time, and some of it was. There wasn't much I could do about it. Some of it I could. I had some control over it. And this is the whole point, right? Like, some people, you just have to work a lot, right? I mean, in order to make ends meet today, like, you have to work a lot so that that you just can't make the events. But I remember, like, I was working a lot, and I was in sales, and I was recently divorced, and I was paying child support, so I didn't have a lot of money, and I was really hustling at work. And I can remember my son playing sports, and I'll pick you up afterwards, and then being 45 minutes late and having my son sitting out there, the only kid sitting out there waiting for me to come. Yeah, right. Just a gut punch, right? Just a gut punch. And feeling horrible about it. But, and that's what I mean. Like, if you could do life over, I'd be able to look at some of the stuff and do it over, but you can't. You can't. You really have to. So when I look at people who are doing, stuff with their kids and they're sacrificing other things, I say, good for them, good for them. My son was in Scouts. I never got, another thing, I never got involved with it. I got remarried, right? We were busy. We had my kids every other weekend. I had them, and it's like Thursday night was Scout night for my son, but it was also one of the few times that my new wife and I had time together.
Yep.
So it was like, do I run out and do another thing? And then on weekends when I don't have my son, then my kids, like, go camping with them and be gone. Like, it was difficult. So and it's a blur. My son just turned 36. He's got 3 kids. I had 2 of the grandkids over this weekend for one night, couple days. Exhausting. They're 4 and 3. But it's a blur. And my son's a blur. And his life is a blur now. He took that time to have 3 kids. They have a 1-year-old at home also, but without 2 of the kids, he was able to do a lot. And again, a lot of work. Had a used playscape that he had just repainted and all. Look, and he said, "Look what I was able to get done." Like, that's what his point was. Look what I was able to do while I didn't have 2 of my kids. And that's the way life is. Life is so busy. But they do a good job. They spend some time. My other kids and grandkids spend a lot of time together. But it's a blur. And when you throw, and this is the whole point. I wasn't drinking. I was sober. I just heard this term about the difference between being sober and having sobriety, right?
Yes.
Being sober is removing the alcohol. Like, you could be sober by not drinking, but that doesn't mean you have sobriety. I heard like a speaker online. It came across my page, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense to me, because I spent years being sober where I had to remove the alcohol, but not having sobriety. And so a lot of this time too was me not having a program, and still having a lot of my isms, and still struggling with a lot of stuff, even though I wasn't drinking, and then having all this stuff going on. So again, that's another thing that I want to talk to maybe some of the listeners is, if you're out there and you're struggling, think about what your program looks like, whatever that is, whether it's AA, whether it's another program. Think about whether there's some work you need to do, because life is tough, man. Life is tough, and I just know for this alcoholic, man, it was really hard for me to negotiate life until I found this AA program, and I found the steps, and I found the fellowship. Right, I found the fellowship. And, for me, listen, the steps have changed my life, but the fellowship is what feeds me every day. I mean that. And when I'm struggling, and I'm having some struggles, mostly with interpersonal relationships or whatever they might be, it's the fellowship that I lean on. It's the wisdom that the fellowship has given me. It's the suggestions. It's the words that come back to me. And yeah, the program too, I have to sit down, I have to reflect on things. Like I do that stuff too, but it's those words of advice that I've gotten. And I think, oh yeah, this is how I should handle this. So it's not easy, but we're here to tell you that, man, you could have some beautiful days. You have some beautiful Father's Days, birthdays. Absolutely. I can take my 4 and 3-year-old grandkids, which is exhausting. I'm 68 years old. It's not easy. It's exhausting. But I want to I want to leave them with a memory of me, right? So that takes work too. And if I want to have them, I want to leave my grandchildren with a memory of me. So I want them to come up, and I want them to have time and, come up to Grammy and Papa's house and spend that time. So that's really, really important to me. It takes work, and it also takes me to be in the right place to be able to handle that. And I need my program to put me in the right frame of mind to do that. So that's why I'll be forever grateful for my recovery, for the fellowship, for AA in general, so that I could have a weekend like I did. And then today I really do. I have a great day of rest, which I also love.
Those are important.
They really, I got up this morning, I saw my neighbor right next door. He has a small dog, my dog, they play together. I saw him walking out to his pool area where he has a table with a cup of coffee, and I'm like, I'm going to go over, hang out with him and have coffee, start the day. The dogs were playing in the yard. It's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful life. And I'm grateful for it. So,
how much do you think about... Oh, God, I had this question in my head. How much do you think about your own health and the fortune that you have? Because I'm just thinking about your situation in that you have had your own very serious health issues. Yet I'd say for you at 68, you have a remarkable level of energy and dexterity and health. You're in pretty good shape that you can go and do some hiking, yet things could be different, especially if you were still drinking.
Things would be different. Things would be totally different if I was drinking. I paid no attention to my health. When I drank, I got really heavy when I drank, because my eating got bad. My whole thing, right? My whole self got out of the mix. Right now, listen, I do feel healthy. John and our buddy John and I went and hiked a mountain. Last weekend up Monadnock up in New Hampshire. It's not a big hike, but it's a strong hike. One of the ways I always rate myself when I hike, and I always tell John this, we hiked that mountain, and we're not fast hikers. We're slow. We're both 68. John will be shortly. Here's what I say. First of all, very few people our age are doing that hike, right? You can just see who's there. Like there's some, but it's like maybe, I don't think it's 10%. Nobody older than us or basically our age passed us on the way up, right? I mean, like nobody's like flying up the hill, right? Yep. So, and that's how I look at it. I'm like, we're holding our own, right? Not only are we out there doing it, we're doing okay. But But also, I'll tell you this, like I'm starting to feel it, right? I'm starting to feel it. I've just, and I don't want this to be an old person's, I'm starting to feel these pains, but like I'm starting to feel some hip pain for some reason. I mean it. Like I've never had a joint problem. And right now I have a knee problem going on and a hip problem going on. And I've never had those problems. Like my knees have always been good. Never even had a hip. Like this is so weird what's going on. So, I'm also starting to realize like this is, part of it. And part of that is like I've abused my body. And I mean physically, like by working hard and climbing hard. Like, so my body is going to break down a little bit. But my health is so important. And this is the whole point. I'm able to take my 2 young grandchildren and I'm responsible for them. My wife is not capable of dealing with them. So when I have them, like it's me. Like it's Papa's on duty, and 4 and 3-year-olds needs constant supervision. So it's not like you just hey, go outside and play in the yard and forget about them for an hour. They require constant supervision. Plus, they don't nap anymore, so you don't even get that break. So, because of the fact that I do take care of myself today, because of the fact that I am able to stay active. I'm able to do that again, spend that time with them, do that kind of stuff. And just like everything else, because my wife doesn't know why I always do that, because it is a lot of hard work. In the midst of it, it can be difficult. But, it's just so much fun to watch them, to be with them. And I was happy when they all drove away last night. We were teasing. I asked the kids, like, what was your favorite part of the weekend with Papa, right? And they would say whatever it was. And I said, what my favorite part was? That after I put you guys to bed last night, I didn't hear a peep out of you. And I took a shower and I was able to go sit down and watch the World Cup. That's right, and they're laughing. Yep. But it's true, right? Because I was pretty tired. And that's all, again, that's all because of my sobriety. Without my sobriety, I don't have any of that. I don't have the physical energy to do it. Maybe my son doesn't even trust me enough to let the kids come up. So many things. And so it's work. And just like my sobriety is work. It's why we do this podcast. It's why I go to my meetings. It's why I take on service commitment. It requires work and effort. But in the end, it all pays off, and I feel great.
I took the kids to go see Hartford Athletic last night, and it's the first game I've ever gone. Nice. They're like AAA soccer for MLS. And I went specifically because it's something with the family to do, but my friend who lives up in the Boston area is going to be there. His brother is a referee, is a professional referee, and this is probably his last swing through Hartford. He's almost 40, which blew my mind because I still think of him as like, I went to his college graduation or his graduation party. So I still think of him as like 21, 22. Right. And I worked with him when he was a kid, and I mentored him when he was like just a kid, and I had wisdom to share with him. Yeah, right. And his career has blossomed, but he also does this on the side, and I've seen him on like MLS games on the sideline and get to see this guy, and I'm like, well, why is he retiring? He's like, well, because he's almost 40 and he's starting to break down. Right. And I'm like, well, yeah, you're right. I guess you can't run up and down the field like that with professional athletes after a certain age, but I don't see him that way. But I went because it was a chance for me to catch up with my friend who he doesn't live close by, so it's like any opportunity. And my daughter, who's really into soccer, can go and see him, and we can do something as a family. And it's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
It's good athletic. I think they were like $24 a ticket, which is not that much in a pretty nice facility.
Yeah, it is.
And you get that time to be, I mean, there's other things I could have done, but to be away and to connect with people, that is rest. That type of rejuvenation is downtime, but it is also good time to spend, because when am I going to get this opportunity again? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to, this is, you don't get these moments back. And I don't know how much my daughter is going to continue to adore me. You know, I know my son loves me very much, but there's a lot of times that love is through just mumbling at me
Yeah. Right.
because he's 18. And it's like, how do we continue to connect? Because it's not going to be in the same way where he giggles at my stories, but it is trusting it's there, but through his own way, because he's older. And I'm thinking through for you of like, I almost have to give you the advice of those grandkids. They're going to be graduating high school soon. I know they're 4 and 5, but they're going to graduate high school soon.
Yeah.
It's going to feel like tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then your relationship with them will change. You know,
Yeah.
Papa, I love being here in the pool and sleeping over, and it's exciting. And it won't be the same at a certain point.
No, but I remember, listen, I had a stint with my grandfather. Matter of fact, it was pretty interesting. And I could tie this into my sobriety, too. I was arrested for a DWI, which is what they called them back then when I was 19. So I was not quite 20. It was 1978. And it was my grandfather who advised me and helped me get a lawyer and walked me through it. And the whispers were that my grandfather at one point had some alcohol issues, right? And he worked with me. It would
make sense since this is genetic,
right?
It runs through families.
And I know he was concerned, right? But it grew us closer together. And at the time, I was working a second shift job, and my grandfather was a big fisherman, and I was a fisherman, and we would get together many times, and there's a pond one town over from us where you can rent a boat for like $5, and we'd go out fishing. And it was only a couple of years that I worked that second shift job for about 4 years, but it was a couple of years that I spent the summers doing that with my grandfather. We'd go up there, we'd rent the boat, we'd go out in the boat, and we'd do some fishing. And I'll never forget those times. Right. Now, my grandfather wasn't like, I have 7 grandchildren total. Right. And actually 4 of them are my wives from a previous marriage. They still consider me their grandfather, especially the 2 in New Jersey. My grandfather had 32. Right. So it wasn't like he could spend quality time with all 32 grandchildren. So the fact that I was able to spend that time with him was great. So, and that's what I hope I'm building with my kids, right? I hope I'm building that type of stuff. And I hope that as they get older, I'll be physically able to do more things that are age appropriate for them, like take them to ball games. And like I've been to the athletic soccer games a couple times. It's a fun. It's like a minor league baseball game. It's family oriented. Right. It's just a fun night out. And you can do it on a fairly cheap thing, right? It's not like you're going to And I'll tell you this about your daughter and my daughter. Your daughter will always my daughter's a big soccer fan. And we're soccer fans, so we're World Cup. My
middle daughter is becoming one. She was streaming in the car ride up to Vermont last week. She was streaming World Cup games, I think on Disney Plus or wherever they were, in the car on her phone.
Yeah. Oh, World Cup is on. I mean, all the games are being recorded in my house, so I could watch them at any time. My son's saying, "Hey, I'm watching the U.S. men play on tape delay. I don't want to mess anybody up. No spoilers." Like we tell each other, "No spoilers. We're all going to watch it, right?" If we get together, we're sure. If the women's team or the men's team come, they often come to East Hartford to play at Rensselaer Field, which is UConn's field. I almost always go with my daughter, right? It's one of the things we still do. My daughter's 33 years old. We always go to those games together, right? And spend that time. It's really a lot of fun for us, and it's how I stay connected. And my point is, I think you'll still have that with your daughter. And I know that the relationship you had, because I know you, the relationship that you've had with your son, the amount of stuff you've done with him on a one-on-one dad's thing where you're taking him to volleyball tournaments and the two of you have gone. Those times they don't seem like they're precious. They're busy, right? He's busy. You're busy. He's doing his thing, a lot of it, but they are. You're building stuff that, will last a lifetime. And you're absolutely right with these kids, right? It's like, if they get to that age of 18, it's like you're lucky to get a response from them at all. Never mind a mumble, right? A grunt. And I remember those years. Especially because I was divorced, so my kids didn't live with me. I mean, they came by the time they're 18. By the time my kids were 16, they were coming over my house less and less. Right? They wasn't like, oh, it's Dad's weekend, it's Mom's weekend.
I'm sure they're coming over because they need something, either a cooked meal or laundry.
Yeah, they just weren't coming over as much, right? Because they had their own lives. They were going out with their friends, stuff like that. So, for me, that switch turned earlier. It seemed like that switch. It turned a little bit later with my son. He was probably 17, and then my daughter, I could see it coming. And it's like I just turned it off. I didn't force them to come over. I sort of let them choose when they wanted to come over. So it happens quickly. But listen, my relationship is great. Both my kids, but they're both they're professionals now. They both work. They both have good jobs. My daughter has no children, but she's busy doing her stuff, and life gets busy. But it's nice. Like I said, we were all together yesterday. We had a crazy meal with the three young kids, loud, just not a peaceful meal by any means. But even that, I love it. And my wife drives my wife a little bit nuts. But
I could see that.
Yeah, but it's it's good, and I could tell that after a day of that, I know they were all going home after that, and like I said, it's time for me to rest and relax and just enjoy a good night's sleep and get up today and enjoy my day.
I'm sure that level of people energy for your wife is exhausting for her.
Yeah,
and I'm sure I can just relate. Thinking from the empathy, it must be the anticipation for that must make her crabby as hell. Oh. I'm sure in the moment she enjoys it. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's that thought ahead that things will be different. People will be here. They're going to be loud. This is more energy than I'm used to or I'm comfortable with. So it's almost like get her comfortable. Get her ramped up, and then she can enjoy it. And then afterwards, it's like, leave me alone. I got to recharge the battery. And
she does. And she takes her time, goes to her bedroom, closes her door, watches her TV, reads, leaves the kids to me. That's what I'm saying. It's all on me. Leaves. She'll help out. She'll watch them if I needed to watch them. But it's funny because my grandchildren, right, which are not biologically her grandchildren, but they love her. And I tell this story. The middle child who just turned 3, and I missed him on his birthday, so I called my son, and he's a bit of a moody child at times, stubborn. And I called my son, and we FaceTime. I'm like, hey, I'm going to call. It was the day after his birthday. They were at another party somewhere. And so I'm talking to him, like, hey, his name is Grant. I'm like, hey, Grant, it's Papa. And Grant would not even look at the phone for FaceTime. He would not even acknowledge that I was talking to him. Mm-hmm. And then I take the FaceTime phone, and I turn it to my wife, and I go, oh, look, there's Grammy. And out of nowhere, he picks up his head, he looks at the phone and goes, oh, hi, Grammy. That was the only words he said. And the whole, right? Like, they love her, even though, right, it's not her cup of tea. It's just such a beautiful thing, especially to watch little kids do that.
Yeah, I think her talent is, especially one-to-one, when she's dialed in, feels like she has X-ray vision, and she can see how you're feeling or what's going on without you saying it. She's very attuned there. And I think especially for kids, they pick up on that.
Yeah, no, they're good. But like I said, life's good, listen, sobriety, it's so much better to have sobriety than just to be sober. You know, you can remove the alcohol, like the old saying. We have all these sayings in recovery and in AA in general. You know, you can remove the alcohol, but the ick is still there, right? And the ick is what we use the program and the fellowship to get rid of, because, you know, that's the whole thing for me, right? I mean, I need to work on that all the time. When I can read it. The beauty about it is that I don't need to work on it every day, 24 hours a day like I used to. But every once in a while I go, oh yeah, this is starting to bubble up, right? I've pissed off a few people, and that happened this past week. I've pissed off a few people in the rooms, right? I've overstepped my bounds a little bit. People are starting to push back. I'm not liking it. I'm getting pissed off because people are challenging me. And what do? I'm like, and this is really what I was talking about but I was like, I always talk about Edson. I'm like, if I called up Edson and I'm like, hey, this is going on, what would he tell me? He would tell me, do your freaking amends. Yeah, maybe they right? No, he would tell. Yeah, maybe they got some stuff.
He wouldn't say freaking.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't. Right. Do your amends. Suck it up. And even though if they have a part of it, don't worry about their part.
Yep.
That's what he would say. And know what the beauty is? Like, I could do that work on my own today. Because of the fact that I've done that work with him, right? Him in particular for me. He's an important part of my recovery. Him in particular for me. Like, it took me a couple of days, but I'm standing there doing dishes as this is going through my head, and I go, yeah, this is what I need to do. I need to call up this person, make some amends if I hurt their feelings, even though, like, there is some reason, like, there's the reason why this person's feeling this way, and I could call this person out and go, well, what about this?
Yep.
But I don't need to do that today, right? I could just go, hey, listen, I'm sorry if I overstepped. I'm sorry if I made you feel left out. Whatever it is, make my amends, and then move on from it, right? And move on from it, and I learned that in AA, man. Yep. I didn't learn that anywhere else. I learned that in AA. I learned that by another drunk telling me this is how you handle those situations, and that's it. Don't make it more complicated. Don't try to fix anything else. Just do your part. And I know from experience, when I do that type of work, I feel better, all right? And that gives me the sobriety that I'm looking for, as opposed to just being sober because I'm not drinking anymore. So it's a beautiful thing.
Having steps like that, having that amends process is so beautiful. I think about it all the time, that the thing that motivates me to do an amends is, all right, I get to go to my recovery toolbox and do something recovery related. And I have that opportunity to do something to deepen a relationship with somebody else because I'm saying sorry.
Right.
And that is the motivator, and knowing I have the release valve. If I've done something, I have a way of approaching it. I want you all to think about something. You probably at some point are thinking, I wish I had more time. I wish I was more present, which is failed logic, because there is never enough time and you can only be so present. And what, you're going to have a tape recorder on those moments that are common. It's just not how it works. You haven't done anything wrong. Life doesn't slow down, but real sobriety has given me the framework to be present in those moments and to feel like I can make the ordinary days become memories. And kids don't need perfect parents. They need present parents. All right. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Matt at soberfriendspod.com. And if you like this episode, can you share it with somebody and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, the thumbs up on Spotify, and make sure you press all the buttons everywhere. If there is a follow button, do it. Do me a favor. I'd love it. Steve, thank you for sharing your vulnerability today.
You're welcome, Matt.
We'll see everybody next week. Bye, everybody.